welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather Stamper, and today is the June book talk day. Here we go. I have a couple of reads here. Some of them are for my PopSugar reading challenge, and some of them are from the banned books. And we'll see if we can mesh any of them together. So one of the great things about the PopSugar reading challenge is that you can interpret the prompts however you want. There's no reading challenge police that's going to come out there and say, no, it doesn't fit that category. The first one I'm reviewing is Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert. Now, you could classify this one as a book that has a secret. If you're anyway familiar with the Dune saga, or you watch the movie, there's secrets all over that place, okay? So this takes place 12 years after the main book, Dune, and Paul Muad'Dib Atreides has defeated the Harkonnens, and now he's the emperor, and being the top man isn't easy. There's angst between him and the Bene Gesserit, the Mentats, the political marriage between with him and Aurelian, and his lover Chani, who's really his waifu for lifeu. His sister Alia is the Reverend, remember, she's the Reverend Mother from the Wound, is now an angsty teenager, and she's just full of fun. And his best friend, Duncan Idaho, who got killed off in Dune, and in the first movie, played by Jason Momoa, he's back from the dead, thanks to Talaxu technology. So basically they made a golem out of him with metallic eyes. Picture, if you will. Okay. And since he knows how everything is going to go down before it happens, because he's the Kwisatz Haderach, he knows how his family's going to end up, and he knows what's going to happen to him if he goes to certain parts of town, and who's going to try and betray him, and he just has to let it all play out. So he's keeping secrets from his family, he's keeping secrets, playing one group off of another, just a rousing good time on Arrakis and in the Landstrad. Yay! Very good, interesting read. 4 bookmarks. My husband and I read it together for our nightly reading sessions, and it was a good one to go through together. I liked it, and we were able to have lots of discussions. So the next one is for the prompt, Set During a Holiday, A Discovery of Witches by Debora Harkness. It takes place around Halloween time. All right, so Diana Bishop is super smart American on a fellowship from Yale to Oxford, where she studies ancient manuscripts, specifically alchemical texts, because there's a degree for that, apparently. She is a witch who comes from a family of witches, and her magic is mostly suppressed because plot. When she accidentally summons an unsummonable text, may have the secret of the world of the creatures, i.e. the witches, the vampires, and the demons, it attracts every magical entity in the area, but especially super tall and cold and dreamy vampire Matthew Claremont. Okay, here on it's a Twilight theme and variation, okay? They fall into an irrational attraction that way too quickly, going from 0 to married in less than 6 weeks. Her life's in danger. She needs to unlock her powers because she has so many: flight, summoning, elemental, time travel. The rest of the creature community do not want them together because their union would be uber powerful, and any children they would have would be godlike. So we can't have that. I like the science and the DNA historical pertaining to the magical world, and I give it 3 bookmarks for that. I may read the next one, but it's like it's definitely a YA, and the Twilight patterning is strong with this one. So I will withhold judgment until I see the next book. So there you go. The next book I read was Killing Mr. Griffin by Lois Duncan. It's definitely on the banned book list for good reason, in my opinion. I took it kind of like that as an educator living in these times. I debated with some of the people about on my book groups about whether or not this qualifies as a social horror. I'm going to let you be the judge. Okay, please put in the comments below whether you think this is or not. So Lois Duncan, if that name rings any bells for you, she's the one who wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah, that movie. Okay, so keep this in mind. So the juniors and seniors in the high school can't stand Mr. Griffin. He's the toughest English teacher of all time. He won't allow late papers or any makeups. Constructive criticism comes across like being hit by a Ford F-150. And when the jock, Jeff, comments to his charismatic emo friend, Mark, that Griffin guy is the type that you'd like to kill. Well, Mark's response is, hey, I have a fun idea. So hatches a plot between the jock, a cheerleader, a student council president, and emo Mark and sad nerd girl Sue to kidnap the teacher, blindfold him, haul him up a mountain at night, and tie him up and try to humiliate him into lightning up on the students. What could possibly go wrong? Now, like I mentioned, this is the same author who did I Know What You Did Last Summer. You're going to recognize the characters, okay? Now, see Nerd Sue gets cold feet, and the mean cheerleader and jock and the emo psychopath rationalize, justify, and downright threaten her to stick to the immature script when she gets questioned by the police. And the book was originally written in 1978 and is basically about how not to commit a murder, okay? Because the death was accidental, but I mean, it wouldn't have happened if they hadn't done what they did. There was a half-hearted attempt to modernize it in the late 90s, early aughts, but it was very inconsistent. You know, it's like you had references to iPods, but by the same token, you had record players. Okay, and it's like pick a thing. You know, it's like the teacher comments about how, you know, these kids can just Google and spell check, and they're turning in handwritten papers. They just didn't follow through. So shame on whoever decided to try and revamp this. Now, you can't argue that this is an accidental social horror, because you read this and you're like, oh my gosh, these kids are so dumb. You know, how is it that any of this works? Who would do such a thing? Then you turn on the news. And isn't this what we see, sadly, almost on a daily basis? And like I said, I do have a little bit of bias as to understanding why, yes, this should be on the banned book list. One, did not age well. I mean, we're going from, you know, basically like the era of Carrie and early Stephen King stuff, and knowing what students and laws and things are like now, it was a little scary for me. Some people say, oh no, it's just suspenseful. Reading this after Uvalde, yeah, no. So I give it 2 bookmarks, but there were lots of flaws in it, in my opinion. So if you've read it and you enjoyed it, tell me why. I'm curious. The last book that I read was Annie on My Mind by Nancy Garden. It's another one that's on the banned book list, and it does take place around certain holidays, so you could use it for taking place at a holiday. I was very pleasantly surprised with this book. Here's the rundown. 17-year-old Eliza is student council president at a prep school wannabe Foster's Academy, because, you know, it's not as big as some of the other ones, but it's trying real hard. Think charter school, but for preppy people. When she gets suspended for failing to report her friend Sally ear piercing side hustle, I know that's a thing. She goes to a museum where she meets Annie, a beautiful public school music student. The two go from acquaintances to girlfriends to lovers in less than 6 months, because high school. Annie has known that she was a lesbian, but Eliza never really thought about it. And so when Eliza is asked to feed the cats at the 2 spinster teachers' place during spring break, nothing at all happening there, she has the perfect opportunity to have the space to experiment and discover with Annie about their feelings and stuff like that there, until they're discovered by said Sally ear piercing girl and the busybody secretary because people be nosy. Now, this was first published in 1982. So props on dealing with the subject matter at a time where we don't write books about this type of stuff, right? Especially for young people. It's semi-autobiographical. The author spent many years questioning her sexuality, just like our main character does, but she's also had a life partner for the majority of her life, and they met as teenagers. So I give this 4 bookmarks for an honest and deep narration. And it's a help for those who are struggling with their identities, just like the main characters. And it's a good way to help, straight and cisgendered readers understand what other people are going through. It helps give some empathy for those that have never thought about such things. So there you have it. My 4 books for this month. Let me know what you think of them. If you like these types of videos, please click like, subscribe, and dingling the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.